Hello and welcome to Interstellar News. I am Chaitanya Giri and I'll be bringing to you interviews of important individuals who have been shaping the Indian space program in the past few years, and they are the sentinels of what's happening in India and across the world when it comes to outer space activities. In this first episode of Orbital Rendezvous, a program that you will be seeing in the coming months and years, we are pleased to have with us Lieutenant General Anil Bhatt. General Bhatt is the Director General of Indian Space Association. This is India's apex space industry body made up of numerous important companies of India, and they have been the leaders of the thought of taking India into outer space in a big way. So, welcome, General Bhatt. So nice to have you on our very first program.
Thank you, Chaitanya. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of your journey into space and to be together for this first orbital rendezvous. I, on behalf of all my members, are really honored to be part of your journey.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a journey that we'll be taking together.
Yeah.
Sir, for our viewers, let me begin with the first question, and that is, our Indian security landscape is quite vast.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Indian Army, our terrain ranges from deserts to mountains, to plains, to plateau, to high altitude warfare. Even for the Navy, it is the brown water, the green water, the blue water. And these are the challenges which are fast evolving, and it demands a lot of technological inputs. So, since you've taken charge of the Indian Space Association, what has been your experience with the startups? Are they innovating? And what are the new incentives that the Indian government, especially Ministry of Defence, is offering them?
Chaitanya, in fact, when I took over and I met the people from the Indian private ecosystem, and more importantly, the startups, the sense I got they did not know what the defense wanted. In fact, they did not have access to the right people, and they were not really aware of what should they innovate for the Indian Defence Forces. This is one breakthrough we were very fortunate to get by the active cooperation we got from the Ministry of Defence and the last Defence Secretary. And what it has led to is the defence space challenges, which the Prime Minister announced in September this year during the Defence Expo. 75 challenges have been put in by the three services and by the DSA, that is the Defence Space Agency, into what are they looking at and aspiring for in the future. Be it launch on demand, be it high-tech sensors, be it things for communication, for Earth sensing or ISR, all of them, 75, which is a very large number, has been put across now as a challenge. And this model which the Ministry of Defence had called IDEX, Innovation for Defence Excellence, this has been now includes space. And the first few challenges, the winners are there already in the startups, and this is going to happen in the Air Force, in the Army, and in DSG. And this is giving great opportunities for our startups looking at what the defense forces would require.
So, space startups are relatively new in India. They've been around for the past 8 or 9 years or so. Some of them date back to 2011, 2012. And if you look at the tech demonstrations that some of them have done, those are marvelous. So only recently, one of the well-known Indian startups, which has been working in the hyper-spectral domain, our viewers would want to know from you what is hyper-spectral first. And so they've been able to garner contracts internationally, and some of the prestigious contracts that come from National Reconnaissance Office of the United States. They won that. Now, there are two aspects to it. Number one, kudos to NRO for finding talent in India. And number two, are we learning anything from NRO when it comes to tapping and headhunting talent and technologies that lie usually unattended?
Okay. Firstly, I'll start with, it's been an excellent success, not only for Pixel, but the whole startup fraternity, that the aspiration of our startups was not only be a supplier in India to the defense and the private sector, but also internationally. And what could be better than getting a contract from NRO? But yes, the technology which Pixel is pursuing and what they have demonstrated is hyper-spectral domain, and this is entire wavelength. Previously optical and SAR were the two means of Earth observation. Both had their strengths and certain weaknesses. SAR could see all weather, while optical was limited by daylight and many other things. And now was hyperspectral, which was very complex. The data from there, because it is looking at the entire wavelength. And the good part of it is, apart from defense, it is uses in mining, agriculture, disaster management, monitoring of petroleum things. It's a great and huge success that Pixel's output has been found suitable by the NRO. And I hope this will happen to many of our startups. That said, and your question that did they headhunt somebody in India? We are happy. We want our startups to supply the world over. Their products should be of a standard and should be the best that they go all over the world.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Because headhunting is something that naturally comes to the United States because of it has been doing that for a long time. Also, it's large economy and there are lessons to learn for us. So, you have been one of the most prominent stakeholders of this new space ecosystem in India as ISpA. Yeah. And ISpA is about to organize a major event, especially for the defense sector. Yeah. Would you want to introduce our audience to that?
Definitely. What has happened is, after the defense challenges were announced by the Prime Minister, and later in Aero India, we had a seminar. We got input from industry as well as from the users that we need to meet together, exchange ideas, know what is our status of the companies and what from the users straight away what the demands are. So we have worked out this Defence Space Symposium, which our chief guest is this CDS himself, who will be there for the introductory meeting which we have. And we are getting everyone from the three services, from the top brass to the users, to young officers, and also everyone from the industry, most of our startups. The intent is first, have a look at what are the modern technologies, what is happening in the world in the last 2 years in terms of new technologies coming into space. We'll focus on that. Secondly, what we'll focus on is the capabilities in our neighborhood. And very importantly, the capabilities which our northern neighbors has, and what are we supposed to do to keep in pace or make it better. The second day, we are concentrating on the three very critical elements which are there for the defense forces. That is communication, navigation, and PNT, and thirdly and most importantly, ISR. And for here, we will be having players from the private sector as well as from the defense talking to each other as to what is there, what are they looking forward to, and what is the way ahead. And in the third day, we are getting experts from multiple domains to discuss one, what should be our strategy for internationally. What are the tie-ups we require internationally, like ICT we have had with USA and other tie-ups which we can have. What is there for India to do to strategize for international policies to come up? You are aware the Outer Space Treaty is very old, and Artemis is what USA has been propounding. What should India do? We'll have a discussion on that. We'll also have a discussion on what should be the strategy for defense space in India. These are two discussions which we'll have closed door. And later, in the final, in the valedictory, we are going to present a summary of this. We have identified thought leaders, senior officers from Army, Air Force and Navy to lead this thought. So it will be very interesting for our private sector, for our startups, and of course for our users.
So one minor question over here, supplementary. The startups that are wanting to participate in this event, should they be entirely catering to the defense sector, or can they be working on something that is multiple use or dual use?
Oh yes, because in space you cannot draw a line between what is only for defense or what is for the private sector, because it's mixed. The lines are blurred. It is open to anyone. Yes, our primary focus in this symposium is for defense, but any capability which in some form can be used by the defense is welcome. In fact, we are looking at all our startups coming here and speaking to people, talking to them what capabilities do they have. And all the users from young officers to the senior most will be there to listen to them.
So that would be a fantastic event, sir. We wish you the very best for this event. And I'm pretty sure that startups and companies from all over India are going to visit you and take away a lot of input from the gathering. With that, that comes to the end of the first episode with Lieutenant General Bhatt. This was Orbital Rendezvous. And tell us more about who would you like us to interview in the near future. Your ideas and suggestions are most welcome, and we'll follow up with them diligently. Do also share, subscribe us, follow us on social media handles, and visit our website, which is the primary landing site for us. And the website is www.interstellar.news. Until then, bye-bye.